Weld Central High School, the Fort Morgan Mustangs are about to take on the Weld Central Rebels in early season baseball. A good start to the season for the Fort Morgan Mustangs. They are 5-0 in this early going, and one of the first games ever on a new field here at Weld Central High School. And the Weld Central Rebels, wearing their red jerseys, white hats and pants, are finishing up the warm-ups on the infield. The Mustangs wearing their black uniforms with the gray road trousers are just about to set things off here. David Mendez, who will be the starting pitcher for the Mustangs this afternoon, will lead things off. The weather is relatively pleasant for a day that looked like it might be cold and windy. At least so far, the flag is just hanging against the pole here at the baseball field here near Keensburg. So it should be a pretty nice afternoon for baseball. A small handful of fans here. Relatively new facilities here at Weld Central High School, and again this baseball field getting used for game action for one of the first times ever. They've used this field for practice for a few years, and now they've got it into game shape. And warming up on the mound for the Rebels is Thomas Vestal. He'll be the starting pitcher. He's caught by Warren Price. That's the battery for the Rebels here on this Wednesday afternoon. Both teams able to take some infield. The grass obviously has not greened up, even though spring started all the way this morning ago. Things are not really that green yet, so the infield may be just a little bumpy. We'll see how things play in the infield, and there are some patches out in the outfield that will be just a little bit rough as well. So we are just about ready to get set. The Rebels a little huddle on the mound with the pitcher, catcher, and infield. And now David Mendez will step into the right-hand batter's box. He'll be followed to the plate by Ulysses Hernandez and Nate Alexander. So pitching for the Rebels is Thomas Vestal. He's a right-handed pitcher. And the umpire tells us play ball. So the wind in the first pitch of the ball game swung on and missed just on the outside corner. Strike one to David Mendez. A slow wind-up and another swing and a miss, working that outside corner, and on two pitches, Mendez is now behind in the count, 2-0. The opening batter of the ball game this afternoon. And here's the 0-2 pitch, fouled toward the third base side. The count will hold 0-2 to David Mendez. Again, the Mustangs off to a good start this season, winning all 5 of their ball games. Here's the next 0-2 pitch. This one is launched into left field, kind of hangs up, and the left fielder makes the catch. Derek Medina makes the catch for the first out. There is just a little bit of a breeze drifting in from left field. It looked like that knocked that ball down a little bit for David Mendez. So that's the first out of the ball game. Ulysses Hernandez comes up for the Mustangs. First pitch to him. Tried to check his swing, but went around on a pitch that actually bounced in the dirt. 0-1 to Hernandez. Thomas Vestal, the pitcher for the Rebels. His pitch, this one's up about shoulder high. Swing and fouled right in front of the plate. And Hernandez down 0-2 as Mendez was before him. In the on-deck circle is Nate Alexander. James Martin's the cleanup hitter if the inning's still alive. Here's the 0-2 pitch. Swung on and dropped by the catcher, who fires it down to first base to record the out. So strikeout, 2-3 on the putout. That's 2 up, 2 down for the Mustangs. And Nate Alexander steps to the plate. He's the Mustangs left fielder. Wears number 1 on his back. He's also a right-handed batter. James Martin's the catcher in the on-deck circle. First pitch is on the outside corner, strike one. There has not been a single ball in this inning. Every pitch, all 6 of them have been strikes, as is that one. That was popped straight up. The catcher still on the dirt area, now moves outside of the dirt area, makes the catch for out number 3. So 3 quick outs for the Mustangs, and not a single ball, all strikes thrown by pitcher Thomas Vestal. So 3 up, 3 down for the Mustangs. In the top of the first, we're at Weld Central High School, and the Rebels will be coming up after this break on Morgan County's B106. 3 up and 3 down in the top of the first for the Mustangs. The Weld Central Rebels will send their shortstop, center fielder, and first baseman to the plate here. David Mendez pitching for the Mustangs. James Martins is the catcher. The infield, left to right, is Franco, Hernandez, Zwetzig, and Bohm, and the outfield is Alexander, Becerra, and Frick. So Giovanni Portillo, the shortstop for the Rebels, will lead off. He's a right-handed batter. Rebels with bright red jerseys to go with their white hats and helmets and white pants. First pitch to him on the outside corner for strike one. Every single pitch in this ball game has been a strike so far. And it's not necessarily because the umpire has a big wide strike zone. This one is fouled out of play back behind us. That was a pitch pretty far upstairs, but Portillo swung at it, and he's down in the count, 0-2. Mendez works from the stretch, even though the bases are empty. The next pitch is just a bit high. That's the first ball by either pitcher in the early going here. 1-2, the count now to Portillo. This one's way upstairs, 2-2. Gets over the head of Martins, goes all the way to the backstop. So the count evens, 2-2. We're in the bottom of the first. This is the first batter for the Weld Central Rebels. And strike 3 on the outside corner called. Nice pitch there by David Mendez. Brings up the center fielder, Brandon Blackston, for the Rebels. He's a tall right-handed batter. First pitch to him, outside corner, strike one. Both of these pitchers have been working the outside corner to the right-handed batters. Every batter that's come to the plate so far has been right-handed. Next pitch is, that one's inside, swing and a miss. And Mendez ahead, 0-2 quickly on the center fielder, Brandon Blackston. Both of these pitchers throwing strikes. That one up high, but Blackston helped him out, swung at it. And that's 2 strikeouts to start the inning. So 2 up, 2 down for the Rebels. The Mustangs went down in order in the top of the first. And first baseman Cole Leckman will be the batter with 2 outs. He's also a tall right-hander. Mendez brings it inside. Leckman was spinning away from that one. Ball 1. First time Mendez has been behind in a count. 1 ball, no strikes. This one's low and outside. 2 balls. So we'll see how Mendez does working from behind. Really the first hitter's count in this ball game. This one is right in there. Chest high for a strike. Mendez pulls back into the count. It's 2 balls and a strike. Here's the stretch and the pitch. This one is low and bounces away from Martins, and it's 3-1. No base runners yet in the ball game. The only ball in play was David Mendez' fly ball to left field. Here's the 3-1 pitch to Leckman, and it's on the outside corner and brings the count full. 3 balls, 2 strikes. The first 2 batters have struck out. Here's the stretch and the payoff pitch from Mendez, and it's right in there. Leckman was stepping away, but that was right in there, called strike 3. So Mendez strikes out the side in the bottom of the first. So we're quickly through 1 inning of play here at Weld Central High School. Fort Morgan 0, Weld Central 0. The Mustangs coming up in the second after this on Morgan County's B106. Alec Creighton back at Weld Central High School, where we're through 1 inning of play, and we've had 6 batters come to the plate and 6 outs recorded, 4 of those on strikeouts. David Mendez striking out the Rebels in the bottom of the first, and now James Martins will lead off the second for the Mustangs. He's the cleanup hitter in the lineup. He'll be followed by Franco and Bohm. Designated hitter Wes Anderson will come to the plate if we get a base runner. Here's the first pitch to Martins. He pops it toward the right side of the infield. The first baseman and the second baseman there. Lang, the second baseman, settles under it near the first base line. 1 pitch, 1 out. Here in the bottom, or the top of the second for the Mustangs. Missile Franco comes up. He's also a right-handed hitter. Everybody's a righty so far. First pitch to him. Inside for ball 1. That is the first ball that Vestal has thrown this afternoon. Here's the next pitch, and it is whacked to left field. The left fielder going toward the left field wall, and looks like it's a he picks it up at the base of the fence and gets it in, and Franco has the first hit of the afternoon, a double to left field. So the first base runner is a double, so Jared Bohm steps to the plate with a runner in scoring position, and 1 out here in the top of the second. Pitch to him is in there for strike 1. Bohm is the Mustangs' first baseman. Looks down to third, see if there's a play on. Franco with the leadoff second. The ball gets away from the catcher Price, but not far enough away for Franco to be able to advance. And the count is 1-1. Now they've got 0-2 on the board. I didn't see the strike call, and it did get away from the catcher. Here's the next pitch, and it's going to be academic because it's lined into left center for a base hit, and Franco comes around to score. Bohm into second, and there's not going to be a play there. So RBI for Jared Bohm. Give him a single and an RBI. But he moves up to second on the throw in. The Mustangs have the early lead here in the top of the second. Wes Anderson, the designated hitter, steps into the left-hander batter's box. Still just 1 out for the Mustangs. And Bohm now at second. Franco came around to score. So after 4 straight outs, pair of hits for the Mustangs. Franco and Bohm put the Mustangs on the board, and Anderson, who's the DH in place of second baseman Tony Zwetzig, steps in. He crouches down, ready for the pitch, and watches strike 1. So Bohm goes all the way back to second, now creeps off second base. Nobody's holding him on there or getting close, and a swing. That was kind of looked like Anderson was fooled on that one. Not a good swing, and he's behind in the count 0-2. Just 1 down here in the inning. Bohm is at second. Mustangs have a run across here in the second. Next pitch, the umpire looked like he thought about it, but ball one. 1 ball, 2 strikes. To DH Wes Anderson, Jacob Frick is in the on-deck circle. Here's the pitch way up high, and that's to a tall batter, and the count evens 2-2. With 2 strikes, Anderson was not going for that high heat. Here's the 2-2. Goes for that one, and right back past the pitcher to the second baseman. He's going to go over to first for the out, and Bohm will move up to third on the play. So 4-3 on the putout. Frick will be at the plate with Bohm at third, but there are 2 outs in the inning. That ball looked like it had a chance to get through. It went just to the right of the mound, but that grass slowed it down enough that the second baseman, Lang, was able to pick it up over to Leckman for the out. Now the first pitch to Frick is a ball. Jacob Frick, the right fielder for the Mustangs this afternoon, looking to try to bring Jared Bohm in from third. Swings at a high pitch and trickles foul toward third base. The count evens 1-1. It's overcast here this afternoon, but not much wind, just a little bit of a breeze that's blowing from left to right, kind of sort of blowing in from left field here at Weld Central High School, and not a lot around this field to break the wind. The next pitch bounces in the dirt, 2 balls and a strike. The temperature is pleasant. Probably about 30 or 40 fans in addition to the participants here. The next pitch is upstairs, and Frick is ahead in the count, 3-1. 2 outs in the inning. 1 run across for the Mustangs. Jared Bohm is at third. Frick's trying to drive him in. Swing and a miss. Count evens. Or I should say goes full. 3 balls, 2 strikes. So Frick needs to put the ball in play to drive in the run, and he drives it on the ground toward the shortstop. The shortstop has a long throw, and it's not caught by the first baseman. Gets by the first baseman, and the run scores. That was a fairly tough chance for the shortstop. I think we're going to have to say E6 on that. That was a fairly tough opportunity. He had to throw it pretty fast, and it was low and got by the first baseman. So the run comes across for the Mustangs. They lead 2-0, and that brings Vaquero to the plate. He's the center fielder, the 9th hitter in the lineup. We'll check some other opinions on how to score that ground ball by Frick. This one popped up by Vaquero. It's coming toward the dugout. The catcher heading toward right before the fence. Great catch by Price. Warren Price, the catcher, right in front of the fence, and that's the 3rd out of the inning. But in the inning, the Mustangs get 2 runs across. Franco and Bohm score. Franco and Bohm also had the base hits in that inning. And after 1.5, it's the Mustangs 2, the Rebels nothing here on Morgan County's B106. Head to the bottom of the second at Weld Central High School. The Mustangs put 2 runs across in the top of the inning. 2 hits and an error in that inning. The Mustangs with the first base hits of the ball game. David Mendez struck out the side in the top of the bottom of the first. Here's the bottom of the second, and hits the leadoff batter, Thomas Vestal, his counterpart pitcher. And Vestal just turned, and it kind of got him high in the back, and he'll go to first. The leadoff batter on is Vestal, now with nobody out. His battery mate Warren Price will come to the plate, and the first base runner for the Mustangs. Baseball on B106 this afternoon is brought to you in part by Valley View Villa. Look to the team at Valley View for rehab, short-term or long-term care needs. They've got a lot of options available to you there. You can stop by and visit them at 815 Fremont in Fort Morgan, or give them a call at 867-8261. That's Valley View Villa. Coming up to the plate now, a little bit of the pause in the action. At the plate is catcher Warren Price for the Rebels. Mendez hit the first batter in the inning. It's working from the stretch as he does even with no base runners. First pitch is upstairs, ball one. Mendez struck out the side in the first. Now the Rebels have one on, nobody out here in the second. Next pitch is on the outside corner for strike one. And now a throw over to first, gets by Bohm, and it gets far enough away that Vestal is going to move up. That's going to be an error. I'm going to put that on the pitcher on my scorecard. Again, these are unofficial scoring. That pickoff attempt got by the first baseman Bohm. And now with nobody out, Thomas Vestal is in scoring position. A 1-1 count on the batter at the plate, Warren Price. The pitch there, he check swings and fouls it toward the Mustang dugout. So Mendez is ahead in the count, a ball and two strikes. Be nice to get Price out here. He's a big right-handed batter. Just looking, would guess that he probably has some power in that bat. And here's the pitch. He looks at one on the outside corner, and the fourth strikeout in the ball game for Mendez. All four outs, in fact, have been strikeouts. So now Justin Smith, the third baseman, comes up for the Rebels. And Thomas Vestal is still at second base. He was hit by a pitch and then moved up on a pickoff attempt that got away from the first baseman. Here's the first pitch to him, and he chases a high fastball. And Smith is behind 0-1. A little bit of a breeze now kicking up. It's blowing left to right. The flag over the Weld Central dugout on the third base side. Now that one's right in there for strike two, and Mendez, who started out by hitting a batter on the first pitch, struck out the next batter, and he's ahead of Justin Smith, 0-2. Alan Lang is in the on-deck circle. Stretch in the 0-2 pitch. Outside. Martins framed it to give the umpire a chance to call it, but it's ball one. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Mendez looking for his 5th strikeout of the ball game. A curveball stays way high, and the count evens 2-2. Not paying a lot of attention to the runner at second, although Zwetzig is staying fairly close to second. The second baseman there. So Vestal is not taking much of a lead off of second. Now Zwetzig moves away. Now another pitch upstairs. That was it looked like maybe a changeup. It came in there fairly slow, and the count is now full. 3 balls, 2 strikes to the big third baseman for the Mustangs, or for the Rebels, and that one's low, ball 4. So runners at first and second now. A hit batsman and a walk surrendered by David Mendez. So 2 on with 1 out, and the second baseman, Alan Lang, comes to the plate for the Rebels. This is the first real opportunity for Weld Central. He squares to bunt and pops it up toward the backstop, and Martins has no chance to get to it. It wasn't popped up high enough. That would have taken a sprinter with a pretty good start to catch up with that one, but that does make the count 0-1. to second baseman Alan Lang. Vestal's the runner at second. Smith, who just walked, is at first. Just one out in the inning on that strikeout. And now they're looking for the bunt again. Charging in from third base is Franco. But Mendez turns and tosses it to second base to hold the runner there. 0-1 on the batter. So Lang was looking to bunt on the first pitch. Swinging away here and takes ball one. 1 ball, 1 strike. Runners at first and second for Weld Central. 1 out here in the bottom of the second inning. Mendez checks the runner at second, brings it home, fouled back to the screen, and Mendez ahead in the count. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Strikeout would be big here. Double play will be tough on this infield that's still looking more like winter than spring. Here's the pitch. It's outside. Breaking ball that stays outside. And it evens the count at 2-2. Mustangs would like a strikeout or a double play. The Rebels have runners at first and second with 1 out. Here's the 2-2 pitch. Misses outside and the count is full. Let's see if Weld Central sends their runners. The sign from the third base coach is 2 hands up in the air. I would guess that's not the go signal. Here's the 3-2 pitch. The runner's holding strike 3. Alan Lang watches it on the outside corner. And the 4th called strike on a Weld Central batter. Now there's 2 outs. And brings up Tanner Jackson, the right fielder.
Back at Weld Central High School, David Mendez leading off for the Mustangs in the top of the third, and he drives one all the way to the fence in left center field. Their center fielder, Blackston, goes over there and makes a nice catch. The ball did hang up in the air for quite a while, and Blackston able to make the catch, so that brings up Yuli Hernandez, second batter in the inning, who struck out his first time up. The first pitch to him is up high for ball 1. The Mustangs leading 2-0 here in the third. This one laced foul just outside the third base. Hits down into the left field area in foul territory. And it's a ball and a strike to Ulysses Hernandez. He's the Mustang shortstop. Thinks about swinging at one that bounced in the dirt, held up. And it's 2 balls and a strike. The Mustangs with a pair of runs in the top of the second. Those are the only runs of the afternoon. That one on the outside corner for strike 2. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Here's the 2-2 pitch. Swung on and missed, and Hernandez strikeout a victim for the second time this afternoon. So 2 up, 2 down here in the third. Brings up Nate Alexander. Mustangs left fielder fouled out to the catcher his first time up. The Mustangs went down 1-2-3 in the first, and in jeopardy of doing that here. Alexander swings at one that's outside. Strike 1. Here's the pitch from Vestal, and it's strike 2. So Alexander quickly behind in the count 0-2. Vestal 1 strike away from a 1-2-3 inning. This one fouled off, hit pretty hard down the third base side. If he could bring that around about 45 degrees, that would be a base hit. Here's the 0-2 pitch. This one popped up, and looks like deja vu all over again as the catcher, not too far away from the dirt near home plate, makes the catch. So that's exactly how Alexander made an out last inning, his first at-bat in the first inning. So the Mustangs 3 up and 3 down here in the top of the third. Fort Morgan leads Weld Central 2-0 after 2.5 here on Morgan County's B106. And we go to the bottom of the third here at Weld Central High School near Keensburg. All in all, a pleasant spring afternoon. It's overcast, just a little bit of a breeze. Keeps the flag sticking out a little bit from the flagpole. And leading off here in the bottom of the third for Weld Central is Derek Medina, his first trip to the plate. He's the left fielder, and the first two pitches from Mendez both miss outside, and it's 2-0 to the ninth place hitter in the Weld Central lineup. Rocks and deals, and Medina, who's a tall right-handed batter, swings at that one. It takes a long time to get that swing going. So that's 2 balls and a strike. Here's the 2-1 pitch on the outside corner, strike 2. So Mendez, who has struck out 5 in the first 2 innings, evens the count at 2 balls, 2 strikes. Working from the stretch, swing and a miss. And another big cut by Medina. And that's the 6th strikeout for David Mendez. Brings up the top of the order. Giovanni Portillo, the shortstop. First pitch from Mendez, swing and a miss on a pitch that stayed outside. Portillo helping him out, and it's 0-1. Weld Central without a hit. They had 2 base runners in the second inning. One was a hit batsman and one walked. This one is going to be the first base hit of the ball game as it gets between the first baseman and the second baseman. Fielded in right field by Jacob Frick. And Portillo with the first Rebel hit. He'll be at first for Brandon Blackston, the center fielder. Blackston, a strikeout victim his first time up. So there's 1 out and 1 on. Bohm holds the runner on at first. Swing and a miss. Well, actually foul tip just barely by Blackston. So Mendez up in the count 0-1. Fort Morgan leading 2-0 here at Weld Central. The Mustangs have won all 5 of their ball games so far this year. The next pitch misses inside, and it's a ball and a strike. Portillo takes a couple steps towards second on the pitch, but heads back, and meanwhile at the plate it's strike 2. Mendez ahead of Blackston. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Now the throw over to first. Portillo not too far off of first. Back easily. Bohm, the first baseman. Right-handed first baseman, holding him on. Next pitch is upstairs for ball 2. 2-2. The count to the center fielder, Brandon Blackston. Mendez keeping an eye on Portillo at first. Bohm holding him there. And chases a pitch outside, Blackston does. And he is strikeout victim number 7. That's the second out in the inning. So 2 outs, and Cole Leckman, the first baseman, comes up. First pitch is low and outside to Leckman, who struck out in the first. So 2 out, 1 on. The only hit in the ball game for the Rebels. That's Portillo over at first. Another swing and a miss. Makes it 1-1 on the Rebel first baseman. Fort Morgan leading 2-0 on 2 runs scored in the second. We're in the bottom of the third. Next pitch is a fastball, misses inside. 2 balls and a strike. Mendez pitching a beauty. He struck out 7, only giving up 1 hit. He did hit a batter and walked 1. And this one driven into center field, and coming in and diving for it is Becerra, and that rolls all the way to the wall. Portillo digging around third. He's being waved home. Leckman is getting to third, and the throw in there is not in time. So that's going to be a triple. And an RBI for Cole Leckman. Scores Portillo from first. First run of the ball game for the Rebels makes it 2-1 Mustangs. Becerra came in from center field and tried to make a shoestring catch and actually dove, and the gamble did not pay off. It rolled all the way to the wall. Now Leckman at third with 2 outs. The batter is the pitcher, Thomas Vestal. Kind of a weak swing there and misses, and it's 0-1. So the Mustangs still just 1 out from getting out of this inning, but the Rebels with their first run across. Another swing and a miss by Vestal. He was hit by the first pitch thrown by Mendez in the second inning. Here in this inning, he's down 0-2 in the count. Mustangs 1 strike away from getting out of this inning. This one is looped into center field. Becerra coming in and on the run makes the catch. So a nice catch by Becerra in center field for the third out. 1 run across for the Rebels. They had a pair of hits, and they leave 1 here in the bottom of the third. And after 3, it's Fort Morgan 2 and Weld Central 1 here on Morgan County's B106. Got a good ball game going here at Weld Central High School, home of the Rebels, who are hosting the Fort Morgan Mustangs in high school baseball. A great way to spend the first day of spring. And we go to the fourth inning with the Mustangs leading 2-1. The Mustangs put 2 runs across in the second. Franco and Bohm with the hits for the Mustangs, the only 2 hits of the afternoon for the Mustangs, and they both came around and scored. The Rebels answered with 1 in the third, and that makes our score 2-1. Fort Morgan as we head to the fourth. James Martins will lead things off. Breeze beginning to pick up just a bit. Temperature not unpleasant here at Weld Central High School, and a beautiful facility here, although the grass not in spring condition yet. And not a lot of things to break the wind out here. If you're familiar with the campus of Weld Central High School here near Keensburg. First pitch to Martins is low for ball 1. He popped up to the second baseman his first time up. Next pitch is outside for ball 2. Both pitchers doing a nice job here today. Thomas Vestal, the pitcher for the Rebels. And they're both throwing strikes, a lot of strikes. There's been 1 walk, 1 hit batsman. Each team with a pair of hits. This one popped up over the backstop. Out of play. That makes the count 2 balls and a strike to James Martins. Next pitch to the right-handed catcher is bounced in front of the plate. A slow couple bounces to the shortstop, who fires it across just in time. Martins motoring down the first base line, but a nice play by Portillo, the shortstop, to throw out Martins. 6-3 on the leadoff batter here in inning number 4. Brings up Missile Franco, who doubled his first time up and scored the Mustangs' first run. Pitch to him, low and outside for ball 1. Jared Bohm, who had the other Mustangs hit, is in the on-deck circle. Designated hitter Wes Anderson up next if the inning is alive. Here's a 2-bouncer to the third baseman, and it goes through the wicket. So E5. And Franco is on for the second time today. And Jared Bohm with an RBI opportunity. Got an RBI in the Second inning, he's up there with 1 on and 1 out. Bohm, the Mustangs' first baseman, pitched to him, fouled back to the screen, 0-1. So Martins grounded out to start the inning. Franco is going on the pitch, the throw down there, and he's got the base stolen. So Franco reaches on an air, moves up on the stolen base. Meanwhile, the count on Bohm is now 0-2, as that pitch was in there for strike 2. So Bohm's down in the count 0-2. But the Mustangs have a runner in scoring position with 1 out. That's the same scenario that Bohm got his RBI single his last time up. That one's on the corner for a strike. The scoreboard fooled me there for a minute. That's only strike 2. So here's the 1-2 pitch. And this one slapped to left field, and the left fielder misread it slightly and caught it. Boy, that was an awkward catch out in left field by Derek Medina, but it's an out nonetheless. He came in and then kind of had to dive toward his right and make that catch. That's the second out in the inning. Brings up designated hitter Wes Anderson, the only left-handed batter in the ball game this afternoon. Got a runner in scoring position, and he hits it hard to center field. The center fielder takes about 8 steps back, settles under it. That's Blackston, who makes a catch out in center field for out number 3. So Anderson hit it a long way, but Blackston positioned well. And that's the third out in the inning. So the Mustangs leave a base runner. That was Franco, who reached on an air. And after 3.5, it's Fort Morgan 2, Weld Central 1 here on Morgan County's B106.
Alec Creighton back at Weld Central High School, where we've got a good baseball game going. The Mustangs lead the Rebels 2-1. We go to the bottom of the 4th. Both pitchers pitching extremely well. David Mendez for the Mustangs will face Warren Price, the catcher, here to start the 4th. The first pitch was a ball, and the next pitch is right in there for strike 1, 1-1. 7 strikeouts so far through 3 innings for Mendez. The next pitch is upstairs, so he's behind in the count now to Price. 2 balls and a strike. Mustangs with a pair of runs in the second. The Rebels with 1 in the third. This one fouled out of play over the Mustang dugout on the first base side. Evens the count 2-2. This game moving right along with the pitchers throwing strikes. Games tend to do that. And there's strike 3, 8th strikeout in the ball game for Mendez. And Price has been a strikeout victim on a called third strike both of his times to the plate, and that'll bring up Justin Smith, one of only 4 base runners for the Rebels today. He walked his first time up. The first pitch to the third baseman is way up high, ball 1. So Mendez has given up a couple hits. He's walked a batter. That happens to be Smith, who's at the plate, who fouls off the next pitch. Ball and a strike. He's hit a batter and given up 2 hits. 1 run has come around for the Rebels. Mustangs leading 2-1. Next pitch is slapped foul down the right field side. Smith, the only batter that's been walked by Mendez, walked on a full count. Now the next pitch to him is ball 2, so the count evens at 2-2. Here comes the 2-2 pitch. Mendez working pretty quickly. Strike 3 called. 9th strikeout. 2 up, 2 down here in the 4th. And Alan Lang comes to the plate now, and he was called out on strikes in the second. So we're in the bottom of the fourth. David Mendez struck out the side in the first. Had a pair of strikeouts in each of the previous 2 innings and has struck out the first 2 batters in this inning. Next pitch in there for a strike. And meanwhile, Thomas Vestal for the Rebels also throwing a lot of strikes today. Here's the next pitch. Swing and a miss on that one. And Mendez ahead in the count, 0-2 on the second baseman, Alan Lang. The first 2 batters have struck out. Next pitch stays high. A ball and 2 strikes. In fact, as we mentioned early in the game, neither pitcher threw a ball in the first inning. Here's the 1-2 pitch, and that one's fouled, a roller toward first, and the count will remain 1 ball, 2 strikes. David Mendez of the Fort Morgan Mustangs looking for his 10th strikeout of the afternoon. There's 2 outs here in the bottom of the fourth. The next pitch to the Rebel batter, called strike 3. So 3 up, 3 down on 3 called strikeouts. And that is 10 strikeouts in the ball game for Mustang pitcher David Mendez. After 4 complete, Fort Morgan leads Weld Central by the score of 2-1 here on Morgan County's B106. I'm Alec Creighton back at Weld Central High School. We're heading to the 5th inning where the Fort Morgan Mustangs lead the Weld Central Rebels by the score of 2-1. Running the board back at Studio B in Fort Morgan is Trenton Klemper. Congratulations to Trenton, who was recently named as a Betcher Scholar. Trenton, we're really proud of you. Coming up here in the 5th for the Mustangs, Jacob Frick, Sergio Becerra, and David Mendez will come to the plate. Thomas Vestal, the pitcher, and he gets Frick to swing at that one. Looked like it was an outside pitch, but Frick down in the count 0-1. He reached on an error on the shortstop his last time up, and he's going to get a base hit. Oh, he's not. That ball just hung up to the left field. And a nice catch out there by Derek Medina, who has had some adventures out there that wind playing some tricks with the ball. And I thought for sure that was going to drop, and it just hung up. So that's the first out. Becerra bunting. Oh, well, I'm sorry, he didn't catch it. He caught it on a single hop out there, and Frick is at first with a single. I apologize for that. There was a couple people between me and the fielder. That was trickier than I thought. So Frick is at first with that single. Hey, he hit that ball well, and Becerra trying to bunt him over. Now swings at the second pitch, and that's strike 2. Mustangs leading by a run here in the top of the 5th. Of course, high school regulation games are 7 innings long. Curveball just drops in there, just froze Becerra, and that's a strikeout for the first out in the inning. Frick, the runner at first. And the top of the order, David Mendez at the plate for the Mustangs, leading by a single run. Ball bounces at the plate, blocked by Price, the catcher. So no chance for Frick to advance. Off and running on the pitch. I'm sorry. That's Wes Anderson out there, if I'm not mistaken. Let me get my scorecard straight here. Mendez at the plate with a 1-ball, 1-strike count. And now a grounder to the third baseman, keeps it in front of him. The throw across, he pulls the first baseman off the bag. And runners at first and third. That another tough chance. We're going to have to call that an error. He didn't field it cleanly, and then the throw pulled the first baseman off. Mendez at first. We're going to call that an error. Still one out for the Mustangs. Now Weld Central wants to talk things over. The Mustangs leading 2-1 here in the top of the fifth. Fort Morgan scored 2 in the second. Weld Central with 1 in the third. Baseball on B106 this afternoon, brought to you in part by B&B Appliance at 502 Ensign in Fort Morgan. They can help you save water, save energy, and save the environment without sacrificing quality and performance. Change for the better with B&B Appliance, and also great customer service to go along with that. They're located at 502 Ensign in downtown Fort Morgan. So the conference at the mound done for the Rebels. Fort Morgan with runners at first and third. 1 out. Yuli Hernandez, the shortstop, who struck out a couple of times, is at the plate. Vestal's first pitch to him. He chases a high one, fouls it back. That's 1 strike. With 1 out, runners at first and third. Vestal checking the runners at the corners. Works from the stretch. The runner goes from first to second. They throw to the shortstop to try to see if they can get the runner from third to go for it. So Mendez gets the stolen base. He's at second. Now the Mustangs have 2 in scoring position. The pitch was a strike, so Hernandez down 0-2. Just 1 out. And he goes for a pitch in the dirt. The catcher will have to throw it down to first as the ball bounced in the dirt, but Yuli couldn't hold up. And that's the second out in the inning. That brings up Nate Alexander. Now 2 outs, but still 2 Mustangs in scoring position. The Mustangs would really like some runs here. They lead by a single tally, 2-1 the score. The visiting Mustangs leading Weld Central, and here's an opportunity. Alexander's made the 3rd out of the inning his last 2 times up, and he's popped to the catcher both times. First pitch to him is a ball. In fact, his first 2 outs looked like a replay of each other. Next pitch stays way up high, and he lays off of it. So Alexander ahead in the count. 2 balls, no strikes. The Mustangs have runners at second and third on a single and an error and a stolen base here in the inning. Here's the 2-0 pitch, and hit hard to left center, but the ball holds up. The left fielder comes in, can't make the play, and 2 runs come around. So the Mustangs score 2 on a ball hit hard to left field, but then it just died in front of the left fielder, and it's a single for Alexander. A couple of RBIs, and that brings up James Martins. The Mustangs now leading at 4-1, and a big single. Boy, that wind must be doing more to the ball than it feels like, and we're out in the open here. But those balls have just been dying out to left field. Pitch in the dirt to Martins. So it's 1-0. Couple of RBIs for Alexander, and those are 2 big RBIs in a low-scoring, well-pitched ball game this afternoon. He goes. Martins drives it to left field, and it bounces in front of the left fielder. So Martins keeps the inning alive with another single. 3 singles in the inning for the Mustangs, all to left field. Alexander moves up to second, and he'll be there for Missile Franco. Franco with the first hit of the ball game. He had doubled back in the second, reached on an error his last time up. He scored one of the 4 Mustang runs, scored the first run of the ball game. Fort Morgan leading Weld Central 4-1. Runners at first and second, 2 out. First pitch watched by Franco in there for strike 1. The flag is standing out from the flagpole. we're sitting out in the open. It doesn't feel too breezy. Here's a grounder through the hole. Or the shortstop gets it, and out at second. Nice play there by the second baseman. Good pickup by Portillo, the shortstop, over to Lang, the second baseman, who recorded the force out. 6-4 on the putout, but the Mustangs get 2 across in the inning on 3 hits. There was a Rebel error, and after 4.5, it's 4-4. Weld Central 1. Back after this on Morgan County's B106. And we head to the bottom of the 5th at Weld Central High School. A nice baseball game going on here, and the Mustangs picking up a couple of big runs there in the top of the 5th. They now lead it 4-1 over Weld Central. Fort Morgan scored the first runs of the ball game, a pair of runs in the second. In the bottom of the 3rd, Weld Central scored their only run of the ball game, and in the top of the 5th, Fort Morgan putting a couple runs across on the 2 RBI single by Nate Alexander. David Mendez for the Mustangs pitching a gem. He has struck out 10. Tanner Jackson, the right fielder, leads off. The bottom of the 5th for the Rebels. First pitch to him misses for ball 1. Derek Medina, the left fielder, who's seen a lot of action out in the field, will be up next. And now strike 1 to Tanner Jackson. The Mustangs have been pulling the ball, and Derek Medina, who we'll see next at the plate, has had some adventures out there. Swing and a miss by Jackson. And it's 1 ball, 2 strikes on the right fielder. He's the 8th place hitter in the Weld Central lineup. One of the first games on this field here at Weld Central. Swing and a miss, and strikeout number 11 for David Mendez. He's given up 2 hits. There was a single and a triple in the 3rd. But other than that, he has dominated. Medina was a strikeout victim, his only time up. He's up there now. Mendez pitch, letter high for
Alec, are you there? You bugged out. Alec. Alec. You bugged out.
the Rebels.
Alec. Okay. Finally back. So you dropped out. Totally. Okay, I'm putting you right back on the air.
Okay.
Alright. Go.
Disconnected just there for a second. 1 ball, 2 strike on the batter to Derek Medina. The next one is outside. The Mustang fans sitting off to the right thought that was a good pitch. We're fairly close to straight behind home plate. That was quite a ways outside, but that one, Medina takes a rip. Strikeout number 12. Medina goes down swinging, and we are 2 outs into the 5th inning, and David Mendez has struck out 12 Weld Central Rebel batters. Portillo, the shortstop, the leadoff batter, is up next with 2 out and nobody on. First pitch to him is a ball. He singled and scored his last time up. Was a strikeout victim to start the ball game. Next pitch is a curveball that stays high, and Mendez behind in the count, which hasn't happened all that often this afternoon. The count 2-0. Mendez working quickly, and that one's in there for strike 1. 2 balls and a strike. Weld Central batting in the bottom of the 5th. Fort Morgan leading Weld Central 4-1. Here's the 2-1. Outside corner, strike 2. Count evens 2-2. So Mendez is working.
Go.
Got disconnected there just for a second. Portillo walks on a full count pitch after everybody thought it was strike 3. Except the home plate umpire, and I'm not sure if I was connected at this point, but no criticism of the umpire. He's called a great game this afternoon, and Brandon Blackston is up there now, and the first 2 pitches from Mendez are strikes, and now Blackston fouls one back, and the count holds 0-2. David Mendez has struck out 12 this afternoon. He's hit 1 batter, walked a couple, hit 1, and he's ahead in the count to Blackston, the center fielder. 0-2 the count with 2 outs here in the bottom of the 5th. Runner goes from first. The ball gets away from the catcher, but Martin's able to tag Blackston before he could head down towards second. That's the 13th strikeout, and that ends the inning. So after 5 in the inning, there's 1 walk, so there's 1 left, but 3 strikeouts. And Fort Morgan leads Weld Central 4-1, and they'll come up in the top of the 6th after this on B106. And we head to the 6th inning here at Weld Central High School. A nice spring afternoon. It is overcast. There's a little bit of blue. The sun trying to peek out. There's a it's the temperature's not all that warm, and a little bit of left away. Track practice going on here at Weld Central High School. Beautiful facility. It's been used for games prior to this year. So this is the one of the first actual games on this field, and we've got a good one going here. The Mustangs leading 4-1. Fort Morgan scored 2 in the 2nd and 2 in the 5th. The only run to come across for Weld Central in the 3rd. So it's 4-1. David Mendez has struck out 13 Weld Central batters. Thomas Vestal, the pitcher for Weld Central, also pitching a good ball game. Leading off the inning is Jared Bohm. Swings at the first pitch from Vestal, and it's 0-1. 1 substitution between innings. Ricardo Rodriguez comes in for Justin Smith at 3rd for Weld Central. Toward the Mustang dugout. Wes Anderson in the on-deck circle fields it for the umpire, and it's 0-2 on Bohm. He singled, got that RBI, and whacks one to left field, and it drops, and it rolls all the way to the wall. Bohm chugging around first and holds up at second with a double. So Bohm, with a pair of hits to left field, leads off the 6th. The Mustangs would definitely like some more insurance here this afternoon, and designated hitter Wes Anderson, looking for his first hit, is at the plate. Way up high. Anderson's tall, but that's not even close to his strike zone. Ball 1. Bohm is at second with nobody out. Jacob Frick is in the on-deck circle. Anderson, the left-handed hitter, watches another one go shoulder high, ball 2. So Vestal, who's been throwing a lot of strikes today, having a little trouble finding the strike zone now. Swing and a miss. That one brought it down just a little bit. He's working the ladder down on Anderson, who's the designated hitter. Now the count 2-1. Nobody out. Jared Bohm led off the inning with a double. And this one is lofted into center field. Blackston drifting to his right, makes the catch. Bohm not able to go anywhere. The outfielders have had to work hard out there, and they've done a good job on both teams. So Anderson has flied out to the center fielder twice. He's the first out of the 6th inning. And Jacob Frick, who lashed one to left for a single and has reached on an error, he's at the plate. And he lashes another one to the third baseman. Dive, can't make the stop. On it. Bohm coming around for the throw home. So an RBI single for Jacob Frick. Bohm doing a nice job of base running there as that ball just away from the shortstop. He's able to, and before anybody could get to it, Bohm hustling around from second and scores the run, makes it 5-1, and then Frick moves up to second on the throw, and Vaquero is the batter, and he hits one to left field. It hangs up in the air, where it's caught by Medina for the second out of the inning. So Becerra hit it well, but Medina able to catch it. And those balls are just hanging up to left field. That wind is just holding things up out there. Some that have looked like they were going to drop just hang up. Frick's at second now with 2 outs. And back to the top of the order, David Mendez. Way up high for ball 1. Mendez reached on an air and scored in the 5th. The Mustangs leading 5-1. We're in the top of the 6th at Weld Central High School. Here's the 1-0 pitch. Bounces in the dirt, 2-0. Sun starting to peek through a little bit on the overcast. You can see a few shadows barely. They're coming from the first base side. The wind coming from the third base side. Here's the stretch and the 2-0 pitch. Past the shortstop, bounces in front of the left fielder. Frick being waved home from third. The throw comes in, but it's cut off. And the Mustangs get another run. Frick scoring from second on the RBI single by Mendez. The throw from the left fielder was cut off, so Mendez had to hold it first. And he's there with 2 outs for Ulysses Hernandez. Victim all 3 times he's been at the plate today. The Mustangs leading now 6-1 over Weld Central. When first pitch is popped up, the catcher hustling toward the screen, and it lands. Price made a couple of nice catches today, and that one was out of play. So the count 0-1 on Hernandez. Mustangs with scoring runs in pairs today. 2 in the second, 2 in the 5th, 2 so far here in the 6th, and 2 out with a runner at first. The throw over to first, and Mendez able to dive back in. Didn't have all that big of a lead. A double by Bohm and a pair of singles. RBIs for Jacob Frick and David Mendez here in the 6th. Mendez goes on the pitch, and no throw as the pitch bounced in the dirt. Price not able to throw. So Mendez with his second stolen base of the afternoon. He's in scoring position now with 2 outs, and the count 1-1 on Hernandez. 2 outs in the inning. Hernandez with a generous lead and a swing and at a high pitch by Hernandez, and he's behind in the count 1-2. Hernandez a strikeout victim all 3 times to the plate so far, behind in the count here. Now he grounds one just inside the third base bag, and it's a base hit. He's digging for 2, and he'll get an RBI. So Hernandez avoids what's called the golden sombrero with his 4th strike into a double and an RBI as Mendez, who comes around to score after stealing second, and the Mustangs now lead 7-1. So Hernandez got it just inside the third base bag. It was well into foul territory by the time the left fielder caught up with it, and Hernandez, running all the way on the pitch, made it to second. And now a conference on the mound for Weld Central. I think we may be having a pitching change. We'll see. Fort Morgan with 3 here in the 6th. Now lead at 7-1 over Weld Central. We'll see. It looks like we are going to have a pitching change as Thomas Vestal has pitched a good ball game and has just kind of gotten away from him here in the 6th. The Mustangs, with a pair of doubles and a pair of singles, have 3 runs across, 2 outs in the inning, and a runner at second. So with the pitching change, we'll take a break. The Mustangs leading the Rebels 7-1 here on Morgan County's B106. We're in the top of the 6th inning at Weld Central High School. The Mustangs, with 3 runs across so far here in the 6th, now lead Weld Central by the score of 7-1. Cole Leckman, who's played first base up till now, is going to take the mound. He's still warming up. He's going to relieve Thomas Vestal, who has given up 4 hits here in the inning. Started out strong. He retired the Mustangs in order in the first, gave up a couple of hits and a couple of runs in the second. The Mustangs went down in order and left 1 on in the 4th, scored a pair in the 5th, and 3 so far here in the 6th, lead it 7-1. At the plate is Nate Alexander, and the first pitch from Leckman is a ball. Jared Bohm led off the inning with a double. Frick drove him in with a single. Mendez drove in Bohm with a single, and Hernandez drove in Mendez. Hernandez with a double, and he moves up to third on a wild pitch. And that wild pitch also makes the count 2-0 to Nate Alexander. Alexander singled and got the 2 RBIs his last time up. This is the first batter faced by Leckman. Pitch is on the outside corner for strike 1. Catcher David Price doing a nice job of framing that one, giving the umpire an opportunity to call it a strike. 2 balls and a strike on Alexander. This one popped foul off the right side, now leaving the count 2-2. Mustangs have a runner at third. Hernandez now there at third after the wild pitch, and there's 2 outs in the inning. Alexander looking for his second hit of the ball game. And more insurance for the Mustangs. He lays off that one, and the count goes full. 3 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. The Mustangs have a runner at third. We're in the top of the 6th. Of course, high school games are a regulation 7 innings. The next pitch is up high for ball 4. So Nate Alexander draws a walk. That's the first batter faced by Cole Leckman. Now there's runners at first and third. James Martins is the 8th batter to come to the plate here in the 6th for the Mustangs. He singled his last time up, and as most of the singles today, most of the hits have all been to left field. Mustangs pulling it into the breeze that direction. First pitch is right in there for strike 1. Martins popped up to the second baseman his first time up, grounded out to the shortstop, and as we said, singled his last time up. He's up there with 2 outs, runners at the corner for the Mustangs. Lays off that one, a ball and a strike. And Nate Alexander moves up to second on that, no throw. I'm going to call that defensive indifference. But there was nobody covering the bag, so Price couldn't even throw. The next pitch is in there, or in the dirt, I should say, for ball 2. 2 balls, 1 strike. So Alexander now at second, Hernandez still at third. 2 outs, so 2 in scoring position, 2 outs for Martins. He's the Mustang catcher this afternoon, and he lofts one toward the shortstop position, takes a couple steps back, and makes the catch for out number 3 in the inning. But not before 3 runs come across the plate for the Mustangs. 3 big runs put them up now 7-1. There were 4 hits in the inning. The Mustangs leave a pair on the base paths, and after 5.5, it's Fort Morgan 7, Weld Central 1 on Morgan County's B106. We head to the bottom of the 6th at Weld Central High School. The Mustangs leading the Rebels 7-1. I'm Alec Creighton here on B106 on this Wednesday afternoon, the first day of spring. Where better to be than at a baseball game as spring begins. Just a little cooler than what you'd hope for your average spring day, but not unpleasant by any means. David Mendez pitching an amazing game this afternoon. His first pitch to Cole Leckman is a strike. Leckman started out at first. He's now the pitcher for the Rebels. The next pitch is on the outside corner for strike 2. David Mendez has struck out 13 batters today, and he's ahead on the first batter here in the bottom of the 6th, 0-2. Just a couple of hits, and this one grounded up the middle. The shortstop charging in. That's Hernandez over to Bohm for the out. And that one was a slow roller. Hernandez had to charge hard. And that's the first out in the inning. The Rebels have 2 hits on the day. A couple of them have walked and one batter has been hit. Other than that, it's been all Mendez. As the Mustangs lead at 7-1, we're in the bottom of the 6th here at Weld Central High School. Next pitch is a fastball. Boy, Mendez still has some heat here in the 6th inning, and a swing and a miss by Vestal. He was hit by a pitch and lined out to center field. He's down in the count, 0-1. Next pitch, another fastball. Mendez is cranking it up here in the 6th. That one missed, so it's a ball and a strike on Thomas Vestal. Again, he started out as the pitcher, but he was relieved in the top of this inning. He goes after a high one. It's 1 ball, 2 strikes. Mustangs with 2 in the 2nd, 2 in the 5th, and 3 in the 6th. Kicks and pitches, a swing and a miss. Martins has to tag him to make it official, but strikeout number 14 for David Mendez. So 2 outs, 2 up, 2 down here in the 6th. And Warren Price, the catcher, who's been a strikeout victim. Imagine that in a game with 14 strikeouts. He's struck out twice. First pitch is outside, low for ball 1. Price has at least drawn a few balls. He's struck out on a 2-1 and then a 2-2. Fouls this one out of play. Evens the count, a ball and a strike. Mustangs have played 5 ball games so far. This is number 6, and they're looking to stay undefeated on the season. Next pitch from Mendez stays high, and it's 2 balls and a strike on Warren Price. Rodriguez is on deck. He's a late defensive substitution, and the next pitch to Price is in there for strike 2. The count evens, 2 balls, 2 strikes. Mendez working quickly as he has all afternoon. A swing and a miss. And 1, 2, 3 go the Rebels. And strikeout number 15 for David Mendez. 3 up, 3 down once again, and we head for the 7th with Fort Morgan leading Weld Central by the score of 7-1. You're listening to Mustang Baseball on Morgan County's B106. We head to the 7th. The Mustangs leading Weld Central by the score of 7-1. The Mustangs here in the 7th will send to the plate, barring any pinch hitters, Franco, Bohm, and Anderson. Fort Morgan scored 2 in the 2nd, 2 in the 5th, and 3 in the 6th for their 7 runs. And the Rebels scored their single tally in the 3rd inning. Missile Franco will lead off the 7th for the Mustangs. He got the first hit of the game for the Mustangs and scored their first run. He had a double in the 2nd, reached on an error in the 4th, grounded out in the 5th. And he'll lead things off. He'll be facing Cole Leckman, who came in to pitch last inning. First pitch is on the outside corner for strike 1. That has been consistently called a strike all afternoon. 2 umpires work high school football or high school baseball games, at least in the regular season. 1 behind the plate, 1 on the bases. spent most of his time at first base today. But the Mustangs have had some traffic on the base paths, have moved him around. Here's the 1-1, and it is hit to center field. Blackston going back, settles under it, right in front of the scoreboard for out number 1. Boy, Franco gave it a ride, but Blackston able to just wait for it, and it finally came down for out number 1. That'll bring up Jared Bohm. He has a pair of hits, a single for an RBI in the second, and a double to lead things off his last time up. And the Mustang first baseman is up there with 1 out and nobody on. First pitch is a ball. Platte Valley Hearing is one of our sponsors for the baseball today. You don't have to travel out of town to get great service and the best technology for hearing available at Platte Valley Hearing. Bohm lofts it into left field. The Padilla, or I should say Medina, went back at first and then wound up coming in quite a ways, and we've seen that happen a lot out in left field today. So that's the second out of the inning. So Franco flies out to center, Bohm to left, and now that brings up, let's see, it's going to be Barton batting for Anderson. His first time at the plate. So Anderson, the designated hitter, he grounded out and a couple fly balls to center, and he'll be replaced by River Barton. Designated hitter hitting in place of the second baseman today. The umpire still working on his scorecard. Platte Valley Hearing's located at their new location, which isn't quite that new now, but they're at 409 East Platte Avenue. And you can visit them for all your hearing needs. And the first pitch Barton's seen today. The right-handed pitcher brings it, and then Barton count evens at a ball and a strike. Fort Morgan leading Weld Central 7-1. This game has moved along pretty well. It's slowed down in pace the last 2 innings as the Mustangs had a lot of base runners. Back. And the count now 1 ball, 2 strikes. Barton, a right-handed batter. The next pitch to River, he lashes it to right field. This is the first action the right fielder has seen all day. Tanner Jackson comes in and makes the catch. That's the first play by either right fielder today, and that's the third out of the inning, as Barton flies out to right, and the Mustangs fly one to each of the 3 fields, but they're up 3 down in the 7th. They've got a 7-1 lead as we head to the bottom of the 7th, and of course that's the final regulation inning in high school baseball. We'll be back with the bottom of the 7th with the Mustangs leading 7-1 after this on Morgan County's B106. We go to the bottom of the 7th. 7-1 Mustangs leading on this overcast day. The temperature dropping a little bit, and Yuli Hernandez is going to pitch the bottom of the 7th. He's a side armor, and his first couple pitches to Rodriguez. One in there for a strike. That one, the next one missed. So 1 ball, 1 strike. David Mendez pitched 6 innings, struck out 15 batters today. Hernandez is going to pitch the 7th. A swing and a miss by Rodriguez. Let's see, I think this is his first time up. He was a defensive replacement a couple innings ago. Now he's down on the count, 1 ball, 2 strikes, and Hernandez almost underhanded that time. And Rodriguez lofts it into center field, and it is too far for the infielders and too near for the outfielders. Becerra, no chance to get it, and that drops in for a single. And that actually wasn't that far beyond second base, and it was right between the shortstop and the second baseman. So you couldn't have placed it any better with a pitching wedge. Now we're going to have a pinch runner. Michael, I can't read my handwriting, I apologize. Number 23, Maupin. I think the name there. The Rebels have a runner first with nobody out. And Yuli Hernandez will face his second batter of the day. And that will be Alan Lang. Got to watch out for pinch hitters and that sort of thing here in a 7-1 ball game in the last inning. And it is Alan Lang. He's the second baseman, and he lashes it to first and just foul. Jared Bohm fielded it near the bag, but it's a foul ball, so it'll be strike one. That would have been an out and possibly a double play if it had stayed fair. But fortunately for the Rebels, it was foul, and it's 0-1. That one at the knees on the outside corner for strike two. So Hernandez ahead of Lang, 0-2. Nobody out here in the bottom of the seventh. Mustangs lead it by 6, looking for their 6th consecutive win to start the season. The side armor Hernandez misses just outside. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Mustang fans accustomed to strikes, hoping that would be strike 3. Throw over to first. Tag is down, but not in time. Most people wearing hoods. A lot of people have blankets on today. Not all that cold, but the temperature is dropping. No sun to speak of here, and that one's on the outside corner. Strike 3 called. Hernandez strikes out Lang. That's the first. Fielder. The Rebels with 2 outs to work. Oregon by the score of 7-1. Hernandez brings it sidearm, brings it from almost submarine style, misses with that one. Ball 1 to right fielder Tanner Jackson, who was one of 15 strikeouts by David Mendez. He also flied out to center field earlier in the game. Swings at a high one that time. Wasn't even particularly close to the ball, and it's 1 ball, 1 strike. 1 out, runner at first. 7-1, bottom of the 7th. Swing and a miss. Martins has it squirt out of his mitt. No chance for the runner at first to advance. 1 ball, 2 strikes on the batter, Tanner Jackson. Mustangs need 2 more outs to lock up win number 6 to start the season. That one, side armor outside for ball 2. So Mendez pitched 6 innings, gave up 2 hits, and only a single run. Walked a couple, hit 1. And a swing and a foul tip into the mid of Martins. That one was outside, kind of a soft curve ball, but it's a swinging strike, and it's the 2nd out of the bottom of the 7th. So Derek Medina, the last hope for the Rebels. The Mustangs leading 7-1. That's on the outside corner for strike 1. So Hernandez working from the stretch, gets Medina to swing at that one, and it's, I thought that was 0-2, but the scoreboard has 1-1. 2 outs, runner at first, bottom of the 7th. The runner's going. The throw by Martins is a little high, but they tagged him on the helmet, and the tag put on by Zwetzig for the final out of the ball game. That throw was high, but Zwetzig swung his arm down and just bounced off the helmet of the runner, Rodriguez, for the final out of the ball game. So the Mustangs win it by the score of 7-1 here at Weld Central. And the Mustangs are perfect on the season. They've won their first 6 ball games, and they win it 7-1 here against the Weld Central Rebels on a Wednesday afternoon, the first day of spring. The teams are trading handshakes, and we'll give you the final totals. The Mustangs of Fort Morgan over the Rebels of Weld Central by the final score of 7-1. The final totals next here on Morgan County's B106. Back at Weld Central High School, where the Fort Morgan Mustangs have beat Weld Central in baseball by the score of 7-1. The Mustang postgame show is brought to you by High Plains Bank in Wiggins. The friendly staff at High Plains Bank in Wiggins invites you to stop by, and they're ready to assist you with home loans, equity lines of credit, commercial loans, or checking accounts. You can get hometown service on a higher plane at High Plains Bank in Wiggins. Well, the Mustangs, impressive offensively, defensively, and pitching today. The main story defensively, obviously, is the pitching of David Mendez, who recorded 15 strikeouts today in 6 innings pitched. Ulysses Hernandez pitched the bottom of the 7th, and he struck out 2 batters. So 17 strikeouts for Mustang pitchers in the ball game today here at Weld Central High School. Fort Morgan scored the first 2 runs of the ball game in the second inning. Missile Franco got the first hit of the ball game. He doubled and was driven in by Jared Bohm. That made it 2-0 Mustangs. In the third, the only 2 hits of the game for the Rebels of the entire afternoon, a single by Portillo and a RBI triple by Cole Leckman. That's the only run in the ball game for Weld Central. Their single tally in the third. The Mustangs scored 2 more in the 5th. Single by Jacob Frick. And David Mendez reached on an error. A 2 RBI single by Nate Alexander accounted for the 2 runs in the 5th. The Mustangs with 4 hits in the 6th inning and 3 runs across in the 6th. Jared Bohm doubled and scored. Frick singled and scored. He got an RBI. Mendez also got an RBI single. He came around to score on the Ulysses Hernandez RBI double, and that was the 3 runs for the Mustangs in the 6th inning. So that's our final score. The Mustangs 7 and the Weld Central Rebels 1. The Mustangs had 9 hits on my scorecard today. The Rebels guilty of 3 errors. The Mustangs left 6 base runners on. Meanwhile, the Weld Central with 1 run, as we mentioned, on those 2 hits. The Mustangs committed 1 error, and the Rebels left 4 on base. And again, a masterful pitching performance today by David Mendez. He struck out the side 3 times and had a total of 15 strikeouts in 6 innings pitched. So the Mustangs start out perfect. They've got 6 wins to start the baseball season, and a good start it is, and we'll be looking forward to following them throughout the season. For sports fans, we want to remind you, if you're an NCAA basketball fan, the March Madness starts in earnest. There's a couple of first-round games tonight, and then the round of 64 starts tomorrow, and on our sister station, 1010 KSIR, we'll be covering just about all of those games, the Dial Global NCAA Network, all tomorrow afternoon and all Friday afternoon, all day Saturday and all day Sunday, as the field of 64 will be whittled down to 16. It's March Madness. It's a lot of fun, and if you're not near a TV, you can listen to it on the radio all tournament long, starting tomorrow just after noon on the radio. The games start on TV at about 10 o'clock tomorrow for the March Madness. Well, that's going to do it for high school baseball this afternoon. My thanks to Trenton Klimper, our technical producer, back in the studio. Again, the final score this afternoon at Weld Central High School here near Keensburg, it's the Fort Morgan Mustangs 7 and Weld Central 1. So congratulations to the Mustangs, 7-1 winners this afternoon. Thanks for listening, and this is Alec Creighton. Have a good afternoon.